teenagers typically get a bad rap, basically. Yet if you raise that bar high enough, kids will rise to it. Mark Hansen says teens can step up in hard times. His book, Success 101 for Teens, gives 7 traits for a winning life. Wow. 7 traits for a winning life.
And since we have 3 teenagers, that's good for us.
Yeah.
All right.
The youth vote really carried the election this year, some would argue, and in preparing teens to take the reins of their future and of our country in many ways, Mark Hansen offers Success 101 for Teens, which really boils it down to 7 traits for a winning life. Mark Hansen, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for being with us, Mark.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here.
Is life different for today's teens than it was, say, when we were growing up?
Well, there's certainly a lot more challenges that our teens are facing. There's no question about that, and I think we did see that with the technology boom that's taking place, and with a touch of a button, you reach somebody else on the other side of the world, and along with that, obviously with this past presidential election, no matter what side of the aisle that you fell on, you certainly did see an amount of youth vote come forward. I believe it was over 3 million youths that came out this presidential election. That's above amazing. What came out the past presidential election.
Right. So they seem to be engaging more.
Very much so. Very much so. And when I had the opportunity of writing this book that just was published 2 weeks ago, hot off the press by Paragon House, I had an experience when I was 7 years old. I was hit by a car while I was riding my bike that put me in a coma for the next 8 days. And when I came out of the coma, I was paralyzed on the left side of my body, and I wasn't able to speak. And for the next 9 years, I had seizures. Wow. And I was required to take medication 3 times a day. And working through all that, being told by my doctor that I wouldn't be able to drive a car ever. My mother at the time was told by a psychologist that I was working with that I would not be college material. And when I was 16, my doctor told me that I would be able to drive. And in 1993, I did graduate from Florida Atlantic University. And not only did I graduate, but I had the high honor of being the guest speaker, commencement address speaker to my graduating class. And from that, these 7 traits that I wrote about, that I've lived through, because I've understood from a very young age the importance of these 7 traits and challenges that all of our youths face.
Well, let's talk about what some of those traits are. What are some of the things that you enlisted in your own life that really helped you overcome the obstacles in your life that you think today's teens could enlist, because they're facing a lot of obstacles as well?
Sure. Well, the 7 traits are universal in nature. We have the determination, we have responsibility, we have confidence, we have love, we have persistence, dreams, and attitude. And as someone else, as a professional speaker, as I do a tremendous amount of speaking, and for your listening audience out there, and this is as valuable as this is for our youth, it's equally as valuable for our parents and for our educators. I was fortunate enough to receive an award from the National Speakers Association, the Nita Quabain Award, and through that, with these 7 traits that I used every day, they work, and they will continue to work, and they work for all of us.
How do you distinguish between perseverance and determination? Because sometimes I think of persevering as being determined to persevere. How do you distinguish those?
Yes, they're very close. Determination is where you make that commitment to yourself. First you ask, what's important? What's important to me? What's important to what I need to be doing? Persistence is the keeping on, and keeping yourself moving in the direction that inspires you, and looking within inside and putting yourself around individuals who do inspire you, who want to lift you up rather than break you down, because we're faced today more than ever, and I think you'll both agree, with a constant negativity from news clips, from papers that we read, where we need to let our youth know that the possibilities do exist, that the hope is real and it is alive.
But where do they learn this? Because you look at the average kid today, they get up, sometimes have lessons before school, or they stay up late and they get up late. They have school, lots of homework, all sorts of distractions with their PDAs, their phones. They're involved in these. Parents drive them. And it does seem like that life is different. I don't see where character unless it's intentional, character building skills are really engaged. How does a parent do that?
Well, thank you for saying that, because where I've repeatedly found the importance of two things. One is the theme of empowerment. You know, when we look at successful businesses today around our country, and yes, today with everything that's going on, there might be challenging, but there are still companies out there that are continuing to thrive. And obviously when our youth, as far as getting the best education that they can, because education is the key, and you know, the definition of commencement is the beginning. So when our youth are looking to thrive and survive, and what is going to be the best for me to get involved with now that'll pay off big dividends later. Because when we look at successful companies that are thriving in this environment, they are always resting on successful fundamentals, successful traits that they've put into place, because those traits will never change. And that's why they are successful. So as youths today, the importance of accessing those fundamentals that you do carry with you at a moment's notice, so they can carry and reap the benefits that will come about.
Do you think kids naturally have an inclination to reach towards and say, oh, I want to be responsible, and I want to be determined, and I want to be confident? You know, I think a lot of them are so caught up in the distractions of their world and their orbit, they're not really thinking of those character qualities that are going to take them into adulthood. We as parents sort of have to help them. How do you get kids to engage in making that connection with, this is something I need to learn and make a part of my life for the future? Because they're not very future oriented, they're kind of right now oriented.
Right, but here's where they are certainly thinking about the future. If you walk in and ask a group of our youths, tell me about your dreams. I can't tell you how fast you'll see hands go up.
Yeah, and they'll say, I want to be famous.
Correct. Okay, and the next question is how?
Yeah.
And not only having dreams, but putting those dreams in color. There was an analogy that was shared with me that was shared in this way. If you have 3 frogs on a log, and one of the frogs decides to jump off, how many frogs do you have left?
2.
Well, actually, the answer is 3, because there's a big difference between decision and action.
Ah, okay.
And I
was going to say none, because the one jumped off and the 2 followed him. And there's,
follow the leader. But these 7 traits, and we talk about empowerment, the importance of moving from prevention to empowerment. Prevention plays a very important role. But prevention, again, is focused on what do we do if something goes away that we don't like. Where empowerment is moving in the direction of what can be accomplished, what do I need to do, what opportunities and possibilities are in front of me that I'm working towards. So it's these decisions and these action steps. And when I talk about decisions, I look at that and reference that as a moment of truth, because that's what's going to play out in your life.
Right.
And we read the book, a lot of us, that was written by Stephen Covey. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you know, and he talked about beginning with the end in mind. You know,
so getting them to connect with their dreams gets them to be looking forward. Then they're more apt to enlist the other traits that are going to get them there.
Correct.
Like the responsibility and the determination and those things.
Correct. And what can I be doing now, today, that supports these dreams that I have?
Yeah.
What type of people? A teacher once shared with me, Mark, you show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Because those that we put ourselves around really become and are so much like ourselves, and the influence and all. So those things are so important. And I also want to emphasize, we do have a website that goes right with the book, www.success101forteens.com.
And they can get some more information there?
Absolutely. And for those individuals out there who have different organizations and groups, and they have a meeting planner and they haven't booked a speaker, I would love to hear from them.
Okay.
Great. Hey, Mark, thanks so much for being with us today. Again, the book is Success 101 for Teens, 7 Traits for a Winning Life. Thanks so much for your input and your investment into this generation. We have 3 teenage girls, so we are right there.
That's the future, and thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Mark.
Thank you.